So I'm going to start by sharing my phone screen just so we can look at how you access games, how you find games to play. So I didn't have many games on my phone, not for any particular reason. I just, hadn't really gotten there. So let me show you exactly how I found the games that we are going to be looking at today. We are, as usual, going to go to the Play Store. Again, it's going to be the App Store if you have an iPad or an iPhone, okay? So this right here, either the Play Store or the App Store. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and we're just going to bring this up. So before we search anything, I want to show you where I found some games. So if you come down here and you look at this little icon that's green at the bottom that says Games, you can do this with any of these things, games, apps, movies, stuff like that. And it'll give you just sort of lists of ones that people are downloading, what's popular right now. So you can click on that game. So you see these new and updated games. There's chess, there's all of these things. Wait, sorry, I meant to just hit that arrow. There's chess, there's Cookie Jam, there's Disney Wonderful Worlds, there's all sorts of things. You can even, when you go to this one that says top charts, you can see really what's the #1 game right now, Cookie Carver. I have no idea. But you can also go in here, if you click on top charts, you can go to categories here. So if you're into a really specific kind of game, you can go here and look, and see board games, card games, casino games, puzzles, strategy games. So let's look maybe at puzzles. So this will tell you what the sort of top puzzle games right now are. And I'm going to click on one just to give you an idea of what to look for when you're downloading a game, just to make sure it's free, that it's, not something that you're going to have to pay for. And you can see if there are any things where you'll probably see ads in some of these free games, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But just so you can look and sort of evaluate a game before you download it. So we'll look at this Pull the Pin one. I have no idea what this is, but we're just going to look at it. So on here, when you pull up a game like this, one thing that you want to look for is right here. It says in-app purchases. And what that means is that there's a version of the game itself that's free, but there might be places in the game where it says, in order to do this or to get these extra features, they want you to pay for it. There are generally free versions of most games. The one thing that you have to sort of deal with is ads. So all the games that I have today have some form of ads on them because they are free, and we'll talk about how to navigate through those. But you want to make sure that the ones that you're looking at are not like requiring you to purchase them unless you want to. If you do want to purchase them, that's fine. That's totally fine. But don't get yourself into something where you're buying a game and you don't want to be, okay? So if it says in-app purchases, that means the basic version of it is going to be free, but there might be things that it gives you the option to pay for some feature along the way, okay? So that's the way that you can look for specific kinds of games that you might like. Okay, so let's look at a couple things real quick. All right, so I'm going to show you how to, how to download things from the App Store now, but I'm just going to walk you through one real quick. So let's say that we want to download Solitaire. We're going to go again to the Play Store. I'm going to look up Solitaire. And you'll see there are a lot of different versions of Solitaire that you can download. So, there are lots of different companies make some version of Solitaire. And what you would do is just go to whatever one. This one's just the classic Solitaire. And you go there and just hit install. Okay, and you'll see on this one too that it says in-app purchases. So that means there's a free version of it, but it might ask you to pay for something along the way, which you can decline. And we'll just hit install for that, okay? So we're gonna look at the version of Solitaire that I brought up on my phone. And while we're getting that up, I just wanna say that we talk about games as games are fun, games are great, games are sort of like a way to spend your time if you're waiting in line or whatever. But one of the things about games that are especially like logic games, anything that's like a puzzle, like we were talking about wordscapes, really anything, honestly, even the sort of action adventure games, they keep your brain sharp. So it's not just, I mean, it can be relaxing, that too. It's not just about, you know, this is fun. It's like this actually like helps your brain. And some of these ones that we're going to look at today, like solitaire, Sudoku, they make you sort of keep thinking. They can sharpen your thinking processes. So just keep that in mind. They can, there's some benefit to these beyond even just fun and relaxation too. So think about that as you're looking for games you might want to play. So the first one we have is just this real basic version of solitaire. And if you've ever played solitaire, you sort of know how this goes. So what we're going to do is like take these aces, we're going to drag them up to the top, and we're going to start putting the cards where they belong. And eventually, if you get down to your last card, it's going to be just like if you're playing solitaire with a deck of cards. The things that you can do on here that are a little bit different is, let's say you did a move, I guess you can do this in real life too, but if you did a move that you wanted to undo, you can hit this undo button at the bottom. You can ask for a hint. So it's telling me to put, did you see what happened when I hit that hint? It's telling me to put that 5 on the 6. So it's helping me out here if I get stuck. So let's say I do that. There's a thing that'll track if you play every day. So it'll like cross off each of the days that you've played. So if you want to get in the habit of playing a game or two a day, just to keep your brain moving, that's a great idea. Someone put that 7 on the 8. And then if you wanted to start a new game, say you got stuck, you can go down here and say new game. And then just about every game is also going to have one of these gears on it too. And as we've learned from some of those before, and some of these apps before, the gear is generally settings. All right. So you'll see on here that you can change it the way to be the way that you want it to look, the way you want the play to happen. You can turn off the sound. Like if you didn't want to do undo, you can enable undo on here. If you're left-handed, you can set it up to be in left-handed mode. You can even change, like, let's say we're going to change the design of the cards to, we have a lot of options here. I'm going to change it to this one, this red one. And we can make, you can also make, if you go to the front, you can make the design bigger if it's easier for you to see. So you can make all sorts of little changes in here. Just be aware that sometimes when you go in to change things on settings and stuff, sometimes that can be a moment where they ask you to pay for some sort of upgrade. So if you want to keep the game free, just make sure you're keeping it on settings that don't ask you to pay for them. So this one's a pretty straightforward version of solitaire. And all of the things that I'm showing to you right now are free. Like I didn't pay for anything that I'm showing to you right now. So these are all super accessible, okay? So that's one, that's just a real basic version of solitaire. I'm gonna pull up, this is one that I had never seen before and I got really sort of attached to. It's very cool. So this one I found because it was a popular game. I had never heard of it before. So we're gonna look at this one that's called Match 3D. And again, if you wanted to download this, you can just look in your App Store or your Play Store. So you should see it, I think, on my screen. We're gonna click on Match 3D. All right. And you're gonna see this lucky spin thing come up. I'm just gonna go ahead and spin. It gives you like some, I don't know, some extra points or something every day. So I'm gonna hit the stop button and it'll give me something. Let's see what I get. So, okay, I got some coins. I haven't really been paying that much attention to my coins, but okay, we're gonna hit this X to X out of this part because we wanna go straight to the game. So you'll see I'm on level 9, I'm gonna hit play. And I'm just gonna hit regular play because I think those level boosters are something that they're asking you to pay for. So this is what it does. It gives you this big old pile of stuff, which is, it's like sort of overwhelming to look at first. And what it's asking you to do is sort of as quickly as you can to match objects. So it's like a matching game. So you're taking them objects and putting them onto this little platform. So look, I got 2 oranges on there. Let's see. Oh, now that I'm under pressure and people are watching, it's going to be really difficult. So you just look for the ones that match. And you move items around. Like if you want to look under it, you just drag your finger across the different things. So you move this pile, but once you put something in there, you're trying to find the match to it. There we go. See, like the shopping basket right here, there's one. And then up in this top part, there's one too. And see, it's timing you at the top. So that's sort of the measure of how quickly you're doing it too. I'm not super fast at it. I'm getting better though. But this is one of those things that sort of does work your memory, your concentration. It does make you be really sort of like aware of what you're looking for. It makes your eyes move around, makes your brain active. So it can be a really good way to just keep that going. So that is Match 3D. And what happens as you go along is you start getting different kinds of shapes. You start getting like a bigger pile. So it starts challenging you more as it goes along, which is something that a lot of these games do. So that's one to check out. And then I want to show you Sudoku, which is another sort of classic one. So there, again, you know, if you go to the App Store or the Play Store, you'll find, and you look up Sudoku, you'll find tons of different versions of Sudoku. This one that we're looking at right now is called Simple Sudoku. And I'll show you what the icon looks like for it in just a second. So the way of playing Sudoku, and this one is really good for your brain. It's sort of like a logic puzzle almost. Not almost, it is a logic puzzle. What you want to do in this game is in each of these little squares, so in you see there's a set of 9 different squares with 9 other squares inside of them. Each one of those is going to have a number 1 through 9. And each one of those is, you're only going to use that number once. But the same is going to be true of every vertical line and horizontal line. So in each square, each vertical line and each horizontal line is going to have the numbers 1 through 9, only once each time. So if you start this off, this is why I was trying to show it to you on the iPad. If you just start this game from the beginning, the thing about this simple Sudoku version is that it'll actually train you how to do it. It's not showing it on here because I've actually gone through the training part of it already, but it'll start you off with literally like one of these little squares and say what goes here. So let's look at this one in the top right-hand corner. So we have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, an 8, and a 9. So if we click on this in the middle square, we're going to have to know that that one's 7 because that's what's missing from that square. And this actually helps us out with this. If you look down at the bottom, it's actually got the 7 highlighted because it's telling you that has to be a 7 because it's the missing number there. So we're going to put that 7 in. Oh, sorry. There we go. So there's that 7. So if we look at, let's say, let's look at this line right here. So we're missing, so we have a 1. We don't have a 2 yet. We don't have a 6. And we don't have a 7. Okay, so let's think about the 7 here. All right. So if the 7 went right here, it couldn't because there's a 7 already in this line. If the 7 went down here, it couldn't because there's a 7 already in this line. So the 7's going to have to go up here because there's no 7 there yet. That's the only place where it can go. And see, the other thing about this that's really nice is it tells you when you're right. So not all Sudokus actually do that. You can get really far into the Sudoku and not know if you've perhaps made a mistake. So that one, when they light up like that, it's right. Let me show you, like, if we did something wrong. So let's say we thought the 7, I know we already put the 7 in, but we thought the 7 went there. It'll actually just tell us it's wrong and give us another chance to do it. It's a very forgiving version of Sudoku. It'll help you along the way. The other thing it'll do is it'll offer you a hint. So like maybe a place where you could answer next. So it gives you a place where you logically should be able to figure out the answer. So I'm gonna hit this hint button right here. And look, it's showing me that right there I should know. And the reason it's saying that is because there's only one number that can be too, because there's only one number missing. What is it? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. So that one has to be a 6. So it's going to flash when we get it right. So you just keep going like that until you have it all the way filled up. And once you have like all of one number, so there's going to be, each number is going to be on here 9 times. So let's say we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting the 3s right now. So there's 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So let's say that we filled in all the 3s. It's going to take away the option of us even putting up the 3 anymore. So it helps you like sort of learn how to do Sudoku as you go, and it'll get bigger. Like, as I said, like when you started out when it's sort of training you to do it, it'll start out small and then it'll get to this size, which is actually the standard size for Sudokus. There's ads on this one, but they're pretty subtle. So like down here at the bottom, where you see under that plaything, you've got like a Roomba ad and stuff like that. Every now and then, I'm not quite sure how to make it do it, but it will pop up with an ad. Just be aware that for all those ads, if an ad shows up like directly on your screen and gets in the way of a game while you're playing it, there's always a way to close it. You just have to look for what it is. It's usually like a little X, or it's a little button that says close, or it's an arrow that goes usually to the right that's just telling it to go forward. It might have a little timer that makes you watch the ad for like 5 seconds or something like that. Just don't freak out if one of those ads pops up. There's always a way to close it. And if you get stuck in like the app store or something because you clicked on something, just go back. Just hit the back button, and that should get you back to where you need to be. Okay, so it's actually called, excuse me, it is Sudoku Simple, the other way around. I looked up Simple Sudoku and it still came up though. So it's called Sudoku Simple. It's this one, for me, it was like the third one down. So if you see the one that third one down that's really colorful, that's Sudoku Simple. It's by a company called Mobilityware. And Mobilityware actually makes a whole bunch of games that we can talk about as well that tend to be free and with not really crazy ads all the time.